The moment Infanta Sofía stole the spotlight after her first speech, what happened next was the moment nobody in the room could ignore. For a few seconds, all eyes were on Infanta Sofía. She had just finished her first speech, and the atmosphere suddenly changed. There was a pause, almost as if everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. Then came the applause. Not just ordinary applause. The crowd erupted in a wave of appreciation that seemed to grow louder by the second. And standing nearby, watching it all unfold, were her parents, King Felipe and Queen Letizia, alongside her older sister, Princess Leonor. But the most captivating part wasn't simply the ovation, it was the reaction of the royal family. Because this was a significant moment for Sofía, a moment that showed just how much she has grown in the public eye. For years, many people have known her as the younger daughter of Spain's royal family, often seen beside her sister at official events. But on this day, something felt different. Sofía wasn't simply standing beside Princess Leonor. She wasn't quietly following her family. This time, she had stepped forward. She had taken the microphone, and she had spoken for herself. That alone was enough to capture everyone's attention. But as her speech came to an end, the room responded in a way that made the moment even more unforgettable. The applause began. And suddenly, the young royal found herself at the center of attention. You could almost feel the pride in the atmosphere. King Felipe appeared to watch the moment with the unmistakable expression of a proud father. Queen Letizia, too, seemed to share in the significance of the occasion. And then there was Princess Leonor. For many viewers, seeing the two sisters together made the moment even more special. Leonor has spent years preparing for her future role as Spain's queen. She has increasingly stepped into the spotlight, taking on more responsibilities and representing the country at important occasions. But beside her, Sofía has been creating her own journey. And perhaps that is why this moment felt so meaningful. Because while the world often watches Leonor, there are moments when Sofía reminds everyone that she has a presence of her own. The applause continued. And as the crowd celebrated her speech, Sofía suddenly seemed to experience something that every young public figure remembers: the realization that people are listening, people are watching, and people are proud. It was no longer simply about being the younger sister of the future queen. For those few precious moments, the spotlight belonged entirely to Sofía. And the question that many royal watchers may now be asking is, could this be the beginning of a new chapter for Infanta Sofía? Because royal life is changing. Princess Leonor is preparing for a future filled with responsibility. But Sofía is also growing into adulthood under the watchful eyes of the public. And moments like this give us a glimpse of the person she may become. There was something incredibly captivating about watching her receive that ovation. The young royal who once appeared mostly in the background was suddenly standing at the center of a room, receiving the kind of reaction that made everyone stop and pay attention. And perhaps the most beautiful part was that she didn't need to compete with her sister. She didn't need to overshadow Leonor. She simply had her own moment, a moment that belonged to her. A moment when the crowd said, in the loudest way possible, that they had heard her. And as King Felipe, Queen Letizia, and Princess Leonor watched on, the message seemed clear. They weren't just witnessing a speech. They were witnessing a milestone, a young woman stepping forward, finding her voice, and discovering what it feels like when an entire crowd responds. The applause eventually faded, but the memory of that moment is likely to last much longer. Because sometimes, the most powerful royal moments aren't the ones that are carefully planned. Sometimes, they happen unexpectedly. A speech ends, a crowd rises, and suddenly, someone who was standing just outside the center of attention becomes the person everyone is watching. That was Infanta Sofía's moment. And if this unforgettable ovation is any indication, it may not be the last time we see her steal the spotlight. So, what do you think? Was this the moment Infanta Sofía truly began to step out of her sister's shadow and create her own identity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this royal moment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next chapter of Spain's young royals could be even more fascinating.